I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. I got love, peace, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got joy and pain and joy inside my DNA.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel The Fanfic Fantasy. Join us as we explore the world of fanfiction and fantasy and bring you the best story and discussions. This is the second part of What If Neglected Naruto Was Trained by Rayleigh. So give this video a like and subscribe for more videos in future. So let's get into the fanfic. Cover: An ant defeats a dumbfounded gorilla, having chopped through 10 cinder blocks to the gorilla's 4. Naruto is in the stands with the ant's fans, bandages on the hand he is nursing after softening the cinder blocks up the day before. The deadly ice needles, once they had solidified enough, quickly shot toward the distracted blonde from the wall. His unprotected back made for the perfect target, and would incapacitate the rebellious youth so Gato could decide what to do with him later. While Naruto messed around, his ears perked up when he heard the slight sound of the wind displacing around the projectiles coming toward him. Given his abilities, the blonde had become very good at picking up subtle attacks such as this. The wind was his ally, after all. Naruto ducked down just as the needles were about to reach his back, making them soar over his head. With the danger averted, Naruto quickly turned in the direction that the attack had come from and let loose a wind fist in retaliation. To his surprise, no one was there to receive the blow as it harmlessly hit the wall and left an indent of his fist. "Ah, ninja tricks. Damn it, why don't you guys ever fight fair?" Naruto grumbled, crouched on the floor, and kept on alert, waiting for the next attack. He didn't have to wait long as his eyes widened in pain. Looking down, Naruto saw a spike made of ice impaled through his foot. Realizing what was about to happen, the back flipped out of the way as more spikes began to jut from the floor, trailing after him. As he avoided the spikes from the floor, Naruto caught another group of needles in his periphery that came from the wall, managing to catch him in the side but not slow his escape. The icy spears stopped following the blonde after a bit, leaving him to catch his breath and take the needles from his side. Small trickles of blood left the tiny puncture wounds, but the teen was otherwise fine. He'd dealt with worse training with Rayleigh. "You're quite quick, aren't you?" a voice said from the cold hallway, appearing from the wall next to Naruto. "Damn." The blonde had immediately kicked at the unknown figure with zero hesitation. Unfortunately, it seemed it hadn't affected the person at all. And now that he looked closer, Naruto saw that he lashed out at some kind of ice film that had formed over the wall. An impatient, Haku said from behind the blonde. Naruto shot a back kick this time, only for the same result. This ice was tough enough that he couldn't crack it, and the ninja appeared in both the ice constructs. A reflection: "Come out and fight me already." Naruto growled impatiently. "Do you take me for a fool?" Haku tilted his head when asking the question. "I know that you are able to defeat all of those brutes with ease, so I hold no delusion that, in a physical battle, you have me outclassed. Though, seeing as you have devil fruit abilities, I would hazard a guess that you haven't trained in any ninja arts." "Nope. Even before I got my powers, I couldn't do those," Naruto answered. "And you would let your enemy know that?" Haku rose a brow that was unseen behind his mask. "It won't make a difference. CUZ, I'm still gonna kick your ass." Naruto smirked confidently. The masked ninja brought a hand to his mouth area and chuckled. "You keep becoming more interesting. Just who are you?" "And Naruto," he answered, arms crossed. "And what village do you belong to?" Haku asked, the hallway gaining mirrors of ice on both sides. "I don't. I'm no shinobi." Naruto grinned. "I'm a pirate." "A pirate, eh? Peculiar for one so young." Haku vanished, his image being projected on all the mirrors. "Maybe. Now get out of there and fight me." Naruto punched another mirror. "You won't be finding me that way." A rain of ice needles met the blonde, shredding his already ragged attire along with his body. While not overly harming, the attacks were made to weaken the powerhouse rather than instantly kill. For the moment. Eventually, the blonde had gotten sick of the needles and released a dome of wind from his body, knocking them back into the wall, or bounce harmlessly into the mirrors and onto the floor. "Man, all those needles are annoying. And I can't tell the difference between all these mirrors." Naruto put a hand on his chin. "Speaking to yourself. It's how I think." Naruto lashed out and hit the mirror that spoke to him. It was a bad decision, as Haku used that to his advantage, freezing the blonde's hand to the mirror. The blonde was then stabbed in his side and through the shoulder by more spikes coming from said mirror, the force of which shot him backward into the opposite wall, where a mirror greeted him. The mirror that his back impacted, of course, was ready for him with a bed of needles for him to land on. Hitting the trap, Naruto grunted in pain and made sure he landed face down to keep the needles from going any deeper. "I must say, I find it odd that someone such as you, a pirate, would risk his life for an out-of-the-way village like this." Haku wondered aloud. They must have offered you something substantial. Naruto slammed his hand onto the floor, raising his head to look at the mirror that he assumed the masked ninja had talked from. A smirk on his face despite his unfavorable situation, and blood staining his jacket. Pirates don't need a reason to do things. I'm doing this because I want to. It's as simple as that. Naruto jumped up swiftly and shot to the mirror, calling wind to his fist once more, only keeping it swirling around his fist. Bringing his hand up to the mirror, Naruto barreled his fist into it and shattered the construct along with severely damaging the wall behind it. Using his powers, Naruto had condensed the wind around his punch and released it on the point of impact, adding the power of the compressed force to his fist. Tenpasuda Panchi. Haku's eyes grew wide behind his mask, watching as his most powerful technique had been broken for the first time ever. Even Zabuza, as powerful as he was, couldn't so much as crack one of his ice mirrors. This boy was more dangerous than either of them had given him credit for. I think I'm getting this technique of yours. Naruto turned to another mirror. You've still got one body, even if it's being reflected by all these mirrors. So all I have to do is keep breaking them until I find you. Naruto reasoned with a positively devilish smirk on his face. Haku got serious at this point. With the knowledge that this teen could break his mirrors, he could no longer take him lightly. And this meant that the masked missing nin would have to commit an act that churned his stomach: kill the blonde. I won't be allowing that. Haku's reflections all brandished senbon between their fingers, ready to end the blonde's journey on its first leg. My job is to incapacitate you and protect Gato, and if an opportunity to end your life is presented, I won't hesitate, Haku threatened. Fine by me, Naruto smiled. Hope getting your ass kicked is worth it for that little shrimp. Naruto jumped at the nearest mirror and shattered it with another wind-augmented punch. I'm not scared of dying. It'd make me slow down. If I'm gonna risk my life on the ocean, something like death can't spook me. Brave words. Haku smiled behind the blonde and showered him with even more needles. And I'll have you know that Gato is nothing but an employer. My being is devoted to being Zabuza-sama's tool. As long as he wants us to work for Gato, I will do so. If he tells me to end Gato, I'd turn on the rodent in a heartbeat. Haku faded back into a mirror at speeds that Naruto couldn't keep up with. That is my repayment to the precious person that gave me purpose. Your flimsy resolve, simply floating adrift on a ship, beholden to no one. You can't understand what it is to protect your precious people. Naruto stood, bleeding from his wounds with his arms crossed to protect his face from the hail of needles, had his brow furrowed. He lowered his arms to stare in the mirror before him, a frown on his face. This Zabuza guy. He's important to you, but he treats you like a tool. Naruto asked in disbelief. He didn't do it out of kindness, but he saved me because of my usefulness. This ice you see is my Kekkei Genkai. It was something I was almost killed for, and Zabuza-sama saw my worth and nurtured me to be his weapon. Hearing this, Naruto grew angrier and angrier, and the final words took it over the top. The least I can do is serve him until my last breath. That's a bunch of bullshit. Naruto punched the mirror with all his strength without using his powers, but still managed to crack the ice in his anger, bloodying his fist in the process. Him saving your life doesn't mean that you owe him it. No living person should ever be used as a tool. Naruto thought back on his own life and Rayleigh. The real world is never rose-tinted. Saviors like you hardly appear in times of need, Haku countered after getting over his shock. I'm not disagreeing with that. Heroes are few, and I'm not trying to be one here. I just want to see the look on this stupid kid's face when I prove him wrong and knock Gato on his ass. But now, I want to meet this Zabuza guy and talk to him, Naruto said with deadly certainty. I've already told you, my job is to keep you here. Haku dashed out of the mirror, ready to end the battle with the pirate, only to be taken by surprise when the teen turned to the masked ninja and brought his hand up to grab Haku. Narrowly avoiding the outstretched hand, Haku receded into a mirror and panted from the shock of almost being caught by the rookie pirate. A nervous sweat broke on Haku's forehead. This boy had not only broken his mirrors but seemed to discover the trick of his technique. He couldn't have. Under these circumstances, I'm not gonna die here, and I've already figured out how to beat you. Naruto had his mouth set in a thin line. I'm gonna move on and take out that Zabuza guy, so let's finish this. He stood with his arms to his sides, practically goading the masked nin to attack. That overconfidence of yours will be your undoing. Even if you were to defeat me, Zabuza-sama is untouchable to the likes of you, and he won't be merciful. Haku rose to the challenge, rushing the blonde and pushing himself to the limit. All the while, Naruto was rooted in his spot, not budging an inch as the senbon and ice needles cut him or stabbed him, only gritting his teeth at the feeling. Eventually, the blonde did get a tad overwhelmed and took a knee, leaving himself open. Haku took this opportunity, ready to finish his fight with the would-be pirate. Coming from behind him, Haku readied the needles in his hands, only for the blonde to disappear from his sight. I realized, when you were throwing all those needles. Naruto had appeared above Haku, looking down at him with a haunting gaze. I could hear something whooshing through the air along with them, larger than a needle should be. So I figured that you were hit and running me from those mirrors and moving fast enough that it just looked like there was a lot of you. Naruto gathered wind to his feet enough that the gusts were audible. I really hate ninja tricks. Keizachai. Naruto slammed down onto Haku with enough force that the mask on his face was destroyed on impact, along with the floor beneath them giving way. The two soon crashed through the ceiling of the basement, Naruto landing on top of the defeated ninja. The shards of Haku's mask were strewn about the floor, with him lying underneath the victor completely unconscious, eyes whited out, and blood trickling from the corners of his mouth and head. After composing himself, Naruto took a seat next to Haku and looked down to his face. You know, for a ninja you're not so bad. Naruto ran his hand through his hair and gave the older boy a sideways glance. Even though you talked that big game and all, you were never aiming to kill me. You're pretty soft for a killer, but I kinda like that. Naruto looked up through the hole that he'd made and beyond, imagining Zabuza on the top floor. You probably wouldn't have ended up here if it wasn't for that guy ... and he doesn't care. I can't believe that. Naruto stood up at the end of his thought, and finally took notice of all the eyes that were looking at him behind bars. Gado's basement doubled as a prison for all the citizens of Wave that had rebelled against him, and currently all those miserable, broken people had their eyes on the blonde. He came crashing through the ceiling. He took out that ninja that's always following Zabuza. Who is this kid? The murmurs of the prisoners filled the space as they all flooded to the front of the cages to get a look at their presumed savior. Are you here to rescue us? One of them asked. Yeah, I guess so. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Really? You don't sound like a very convincing savior. To be honest, I kinda forgot about you guys. I was just gonna get rid of Gado. Naruto laughed. A blunt and forgetful savior at that. The prisoners shouted with their eyes bulging. Naruto then perked up and looked at the prisoners. That's right. Is a guy named Tazuna here by any chance? Naruto asked. I'm Tazuna, brat. How do you my name? An older man came to the front, curious about the blonde. Tsunami told me that you were too stubborn and got yourself caught. So I told her that I would run by and grab you if the chance came by. And because of him, Naruto pointed to Haku's down body, I ran into you. Let me get this straight. My darling daughter got some kid to come and save Wave from Gado. Who's helping you? I'm on my own, Naruto answered simply, looking down at the keyhole. His nonchalance shocked the assembled prisoners. They all risked their lives to try and take Gado down and were painfully dealt with and locked away from their families. Now a kid just pushing into adulthood waltzed in and said he was going to get rid of Gado. You guys know where the keys are? Naruto asked. Who else would have them but Gado? He never lets them out of his sight and he likes to gloat about it, coming down here waving them in front of us. Even opening the cell just to beat on us for fun, knowing we couldn't fight back, Tazuna growled. So, my goal's the same. I just gotta beat Gado. Naruto jumped back through the hole he'd made and looked over the side. I'll go take care of that ninja Zabuza, and then I'll come back to let you guys out. He disappeared and made for the stairs. That kid's got serious balls to do this ... but he doesn't look like he'd be able to. A random citizen looked at the hole. Whether he can or can't is irrelevant ... he has to. Tazuna crossed his arms, placing his hopes on the long shot that his daughter had brought to their doorstep. Happening at the same time. Upstairs, the sealed door to the panic room had one of the seals lose its energy and become a worthless piece of paper, flitting to the ground. This caught Zabuza's eye as he sat at the table in Gado's room, only giving a side glance to the door. Haku lost to that kid. Should have known that he'd go easy on that brat. Zabuza got up from the chair when he heard the hurried footsteps of the teen. I won't be so kind. Zabuza prepared himself for the battle ahead. Hey, I'm coming in. Naruto opened the door, seeing no one inside and taking immediate notice of the suspicious door on the other side of the room. He'll probably be on guard. He knows that I'm somewhere in this room, and his best bet is to approach the room Kadi. Weird door ahead. Gado's probably hiding in there. Naruto ran right into the room, heading right for the panic room door. Zabuza's sweat dropped at the boy's lack of caution, and it didn't help when he watched Naruto try and force open the door. Aw, damn it, this thing is shut tight. Must be this weird paper ... what was it called again? Naruto wondered to himself. That would be a seal. Kid, Zabuza's voice rolled in along with an odd mist that obscured Naruto's vision. That door'll only open when you beat me. Zabuza stalked around the room silently. Ice and now mist. And both of you guys like to hide rather than fight fair, huh? Naruto turned around, walking carefully to the center of the room and keeping his senses sharp. Ninja don't need to fight fair, kid. All that matters is eliminating your enemy as quickly as possible, and with my silent killing technique it's all the easier. Naruto was nonplussed with the swordsman's words, picking his ear with a deadpan expression while Zabuza spoke. Oh yeah. Naruto inspected his finger as he pulled it from his ear. Do you realize in just how many ways the human body can be killed instantly? You'd be dead before you'd even hit the ground, brat. Zabuza taunted, sneaking ever closer to the blonde. For a silent killer, you sure like to talk, Naruto muttered, pouting his lips. But if you like to talk so much, Naruto started, appearing unaware that Zabuza had stalked behind him. Tell me about that guy downstairs. Do you really only see him as a tool? The blonde's question didn't halt the seasoned ninja nor take him off guard. Only a sentimental fool would be knocked off balance by words. What did manage to surprise the demon of the mist was the blonde's duck under the swipe he had aimed to cut him in two with. Naruto had merely bent his knees to avoid the large blade and looked at the large man in his periphery, a hard glare in his eyes. The split second of surprise was gone when Zabuza adjusted his grip, bringing the sword down where the blonde was. Naruto countered by rolling out of the way and bringing his fist around, turning to face the former Kirinin. Kem. The attack flew at Zabuza. The man quickly used the flat of his sword to block the fist-shaped wind blast, pushing him back towards the panic room door. Hefting it over his shoulder, the man stood to his full height, the corners of his bandages rising in a smirk, before addressing the blonde pirate. You mean Haku? What else would that kid be? He said you saved him and gave him purpose ... all because of some ice blood, or whatever. You don't seem to realize how hard it is to come across a bloodline where I come from, especially one that powerful. Zabuza pointed his sword at Naruto. Just look at what it did to you, brat. You may be tough, but even you couldn't come out of that battle unscathed. And seeing as Haku couldn't finish the job, it's up to me to kill you. Zabuza ran to the blonde and used his great strength to swing the great blade swiftly to decapitate Naruto. In response, the blonde brought his arms up and miraculously blocked the blade, sparks coming from the point of contact. Naruto had called the wind to his forearms, but unlike his previous moves, he had made the gusts thinner and faster, creating sharp wind blades. If he made the wrong move against Zabuza, he could end up dead. But that thought was the furthest thing in his mind right now. So he's a tool, and that's all. He was down there fighting for you. Haku knew what he was getting into when I saved him. I never lied. I told him that he could come with me if he would be ready to give his life for me, to give any semblance of living up, to become the perfect weapon. Zabuza drew his sword back, causing Naruto to fall forward and leaving the blonde open. Wearing your heart on your sleeve is a weakness, brat. Naruto was slammed into the ground, held down with Zabuza's free hand while bringing Kubikirabacho's hold down around the blonde's neck, effectively pinning him. No matter how you look at it, a ninja is a tool of death, of destruction. Attachments dull the weapon known as ninja. You must realize this. Look at yourself. Zabuza sat atop the blonde. You came here on your own, no help, and you've accomplished something that lesser ninja could not. The only problem is that you let them all live. I'm no ninja. I don't care about what makes anyone the best ninja or tool or whatever. Naruto, despite his disadvantage, glared right into the eyes of the demon. I came here because I wanted to. I don't have anyone to walk with yet, either, but I know they wouldn't be a weakness. Naruto grabbed Zabuza's forearm. They'd be my strength. So, seeing someone that would go out of his way to disregard the bond I know he has, makes me feel sick. Naruto growled, and began to lift the arm, removing the blade from his neck. And if you aren't a ninja, then what are you? Zabuza remained calm, if a little uncomfortable from the blonde's grip. Once the blonde had forced himself up, he released the man's arm, calmly looking into his eyes. The pirate. Zabuza chuckled at that, hopping back to the panic room door and rapidly going through hand signs, stopping on the final sign. Hey, pirate, huh? Well, pirate, I hope you realize what happens when two men meet on the battlefield with opposing ideologies. Zabuza looked to the calm blonde with bloodshot eyes. One of them has to die. That's the ninja way of doing things. Always have to have the last word. I'll let you know something, brat. Just because devil fruits aren't regular in these parts doesn't mean the weaknesses aren't known. Suryuden no Jutsu. Zabuza gathered moisture from the air, formed it into the shape of a dragon, and launched toward the starstruck blonde. Whoa, that's awesome. Wait a minute, water's bad. Naruto snapped himself out of his odd state and moved away from the liquid reptile, only for it to follow him. You really think I wouldn't be ready for that? Naruto turned to the dragon, thrust his hand toward it, before taking his arm and rotating it in a circle while calling on his powers. Quickly, a swirling tunnel of wind came from his arm and shot out toward the incoming attack. Uzu. The attacks collided, knocking the blonde into the floor from the resulting explosion of water, and wind pressure. He landed on his feet just to be taken by surprise by another torrent of water that slammed into his back. Suiden no Jutsu. The orb of water slammed the blonde into the wall, splashing all over the ground with him following. Naruto hacked and spit water while trying to get his bearings back. Hard to believe Haku lost to you, but he managed to be a good tool in the end. Seems it was worth saving him. Naruto growled and shot back up, wind encircling his crossed arms. I've got news for you, my powers still work when I'm wet. Naruto uncrossed his arms, unleashing wind shards at Zabuza. Fu Ryu no Yoroko. The small projectiles zipped through the air with a slight whistle from their speed. Think I don't know that. Zabuza blocked the scales with amazing precision. I know you've got to be submerged. Zabuza looked Naruto in the eye. Naruto had used his attack to distract the swordsman and appeared in front of him instantly, staring right back into the killer's orbs. Naruto's fist barreled straight into the face of the man ... and proceeded through it. A water clone. That's why I doused the room. Zabuza appeared next to the pirate and thrust his hand at him. The droplets of water that were scattered around the room were drawn towards the two, specifically Naruto. The water formed a sphere trapping Naruto, who barely had enough to take a breath before the prison enveloped him. Suiro no Jutsu. Naruto froze within the water sphere, unable to move his body and forced to wait as he slowly drowned. Looks to me that ninja have proved superior to pirates. After all that fighting, you're going to die here because you chose to fight for the citizens of Wave. In the end, you didn't save anyone. Zabuza looked to the helpless blonde. You're going to drown, and Gato's going to grind his heel into your worthless corpse before he parades it around the village for those sheep to see and lose any hope they had left. He'll probably kill those prisoners as salt in the wound too. No need for the people to have any delusion of getting them back. Zabuza taunted Naruto further, watching the blonde lose consciousness. And I don't think I could leave Haku alive either. A broken tool needs to be discarded ... and I'm sure he would agree with me. Naruto's dimming eyes hardened when he heard that. The blonde forced himself to glare in the swordsman's direction, and settled on a gamble that he hoped would work. Using the last breath that he'd taken, Naruto used his powers to amplify its force, which caused the sphere to expand. Zabuza's eyebrows raised, witnessing the blonde risk his life on the off chance that this scheme would free him. Clearly, he was struggling to continue expelling air, but didn't stop. Eventually, the sphere grew to be larger than the both of them, and Zabuza found it difficult to distribute enough chakra for it to keep its shape. This led to the bubble bursting, the wind pushing Zabuza's back to the sealed door and Naruto landing shakily on his legs. I'm sick of hearing you lie to me. Naruto's clothes and hair dripped with water that ran down his body. The blonde pirate brought his lowered head up to look at Zabuza through the curtain of his hair. If you really thought of Haku, of all ninja as tools ... then wouldn't you have just let him die? The question silenced the swordsman. Even if Haku has some weird, valuable bloodline ability, for a hardened ninja like you to take him in ... and no matter how I look at it, it seems more like a weakness. You would have to train him to survive, take care of him, and that'd be time wasted while on the run. Naruto brought his head all the way up at this point. Just how many times have you had to run because Haku couldn't handle something? How many times has he screwed up and almost gotten the two of you killed before he reached this point? Hugh, the fact is, Haku is still here and alive. Because of you. And I can't stand that you'd put on this act for someone you've only met today. I'd rather the entire world know that I care for those precious to me than spend 1 second acting like they aren't. Naruto huffed and then smirked. The way I see it, by your own definition of a ninja ... you're a failure. Zabuza chuckled to himself. Looks like the kid had him pegged from the very start of this little fight. But that doesn't mean that he didn't have a job to do right now. He and Haku need that money. It's the only reason they took the job ... and whether he was beginning to like this runt or not didn't change that fact. A failure? Huh. Well, failure or not, I have a job to do. Zabuza quickly went through more hand signs, landing on the bird sign. Let's see how you deal with this entire room being underwater. Suten, Deibakufu no Jutsu. A great vortex of water materialized in front of Zabuza, rushing forward with such amazing force that it was ripping up the tiles from the floor and fully intent on drowning the young pirate. Naruto stood unflinching while staring at the volume of water bearing down on him, all with a calm look on his face. With eyes shadowed, Naruto widened his stance and spread his arms out, setting his hand into claws. He called the wind up his arms, the left arm's current going clockwise and the right's running counter, bringing them in front of his body in the shape of a mouth. The opposing currents collided with each other, creating ripping, powerful sharp gusts for anyone unfortunate to be caught in it. And it's my job to kick your ass. The wind around Naruto's hand took the shape of a dragon's head. Fu Ryu. The dragon-shaped current shot at the water and tore through it easily, splashing the water all around. The dragon's maw opened wide, engulfing the shocked Zabuza and tearing into him as he made his way through the current that made up the dragon's body. The attack ended with the now unconscious ninja crashing through the panic room door, frightening the hold-up rat known as Gato. Zabuza's cut up, bleeding unconscious body stood for a few seconds before falling forward. The demon of the mist had lost. Zabuza, you lost to that runt. Thunk. The blonde stepped into the panic room, letting out a sigh of relief as he rolled his shoulders and cracked his neck. Tough bastard. Oh, you're Gato, right. Naruto took notice of the man huddled in the corner of the room sweating bullets. Naruto stalked up to the tiny man and grabbed him by his suit's collar. You've given me a lot of trouble this morning, shorty. Naruto bonked the coward on the head. No, please, what did those villagers give you to do this? I'll match it, double it. If you work for me, Gato pleaded. I don't work for anybody, and I don't break my word. I said that I'd kick your ass, and that's what I plan on doing, Naruto smirked. Suddenly, the building shook, shocking the blonde who started looking around the small room trying to figure out what the problem was. What the hell is going on? Heh, I knew Zabuza and that idiot that broke my arm wouldn't be able to cut it, and I don't plan on having some brat take me in. Gato laughed, running out of the panic room. What? How did? Naruto looked to his hand and only saw the man's jacket. He slipped out of his suit, the little weasel. Naruto dashed out of the room, chasing the man. Don't you think you should give up on chasing me and save yourself? This whole mansion is going to go up. Gato taunted as he ran. No way, not until I knock you out. You're just going to leave all those guys outside. Zabuza and Haku, too. They worked for you. Naruto screamed. Thugs are a dime a dozen. And the way I see it, when those two die, I save money. Gato cackled, reaching the stairs with a window behind him. The worst position, after what he just said. Throwing them away because they failed. You're no leader. You're just slime that runs through people's fingers when they grab you. But you aren't slinking away this time. K's Ken. Naruto's attack soared into the man's face, knocking Gato off his feet and through the window with its incredible force. An object jingling out of his pocket and falling onto the stairs. Tsunami couldn't slow her heart all day. She had no way of knowing how Naruto's one-man battle against that tyrant was going, and even though she witnessed his strength, nothing could be certain. I hope Naruto-san is alright. TCH, serves him right if he dies. I told him that Gato has too much strength to challenge. He's just like the rest. Inari frowned to himself. A boom was then heard outside that shook the ground and startled all the citizens. Soon, everyone was out in the square gasping once they saw just who had caused the tremor. Tsunami and Inari had to push their way through the crowd to see the spectacle, and when they did, their eyes widened. Laying in a small crater was Gato, foaming out of his mouth, glasses broken, and a fist mark visible on his swollen cheek. It's Gato. Who could do this? Did Konoha finally send ninja to deal with him? All these questions and more were running through the crowd, but two people knew who had done this and where he was now. Inari looked in the direction that Gato's mansion was and ran straight there, his mother following behind him. No way. He couldn't have. Inari mumbled. Wait, Inari. Tsunami called. The crowd saw the two of them and decided to follow the mother and son as well. Gato well and truly unconscious, he wouldn't be waking up anytime soon. That felt great. Naruto smirked but was shaken from his thoughts when the building shook harder and the walls began to crumble. Oh, better get everyone out of here. Naruto grabbed the keys from the steps and made to go down the stairs, but stopped and looked back to Gato's room. In a split second, Naruto made a new plan of action. First, he went back up the stair and made a hole through the floor directly above the hole he'd made while fighting Haku. With that, Naruto created a gust of wind to carry the keys down into the basement prison. Hey, old man Tazuna, Naruto shouted down. Old man. Hey, brat, I'm not old. And what do you want? Take the keys and free everyone down there. The keys? You managed to steal them? Tazuna asked, grabbing them. Nah, they fell out of Gato's pocket when I knocked him out the window. Out the window? A random villager asked. To do that. So, you defeated the demon of the mist. Another asked. You mean Zabuza? Yeah, he was tough. Now get out of here, the building's going to blow. Naruto shouted down. The prisoners all dropped their jaws when they heard that, causing Tazuna to drop the keys in shock. You should have led with that, brat. We've got to get out of here. Tazuna started opening cells at breakneck speed and ushering everyone out. Old man, pick up Haku before you go, Naruto told the man as he mad to leave. You can't be serious. He isn't a bad person. He fought me, but he made sure to avoid killing me. I don't think that's enough of a reason. But if you say so. You've done right by us. Tazuna slung Haku's arm over his shoulder and made his way to ground level. Naruto turned back to Gato's room and into the panic room to save the last person. The blonde pirate went to the down missing nin the man's arm over his shoulder before making his way out of the building with him. Zabuza grumbled, opening his eyes only to see the brat carrying him through the mansion. Taking note of the rumbling and cracked walls, it didn't take a genius to figure out what was occurring. You shouldn't be saving me, kid. I tried to kill you, Zabuza said lowly. Yeah, I know but I'm not trying to kill you. That's ninja rules plus. Haku would be upset if you died. Naruto smiled widely. So naive just like Haku. The mansion started to shake more powerfully at this point, making Naruto pick up the pace as he quickly ran down the stairs and to the entrance. The explosions began and were hot on the heels of the two, but never touched them as Naruto dove out the door. The two landed on the lawn, Zabuza face down and Naruto face up, the mansion burning to ashes. Surrounding the two were the knocked out thugs, the prisoners, and the arriving villagers. Naruto tilted his head back in the grass and locked eyes with a certain boy. Inari had his eyes wide open in shock and disbelief, watching the symbol of Gado's power burning right before his eyes. The bodies of his men all over the ground, his neighbors freed ... Inari, his grandfather, who just placed someone he didn't recognize onto the ground. The man approached his grandson, unable to believe his eyes as his daughter met him as well. The family was reunited, and tears were streaming uncontrollably from their eyes ... and snot down Inari's nose. All in all, the boy looked terrible as he bawled his eyes out at the impossible become possible before his very eyes. And when he caught a glimpse of the kid's face, Naruto laughed heartily, being heard by all the assembled villagers. They all gathered around the injured blonde, a lot of them wondering who he was, with the prisoners explaining. Naruto-san, are you alright? Tsunami ran to him and saw the cuts littering his body. Yeah, I got the face I wanted. Look how ridiculous he is. Naruto teared up, he was laughing so hard. Seeing the blonde laugh made Tsunami smile. Turning to her happily crying son, she wiped her own tears and looked to the blonde. Yes ... he does. Now, I should patch you up. No, help Zabuza and Haku first ... they aren't bad for ninja. Whoa, kid, it's one thing to save them, but heal them. Tazuna scratched his head. It was just a job to them. I can't blame them for that. That's the price of being a ninja ... You've always gotta follow someone. Naruto looked up to the sky. If Naruto-san is sure ... then I'll do it. Tsunami acquiesced. A few hours later. Are you sure about leaving like this? Tazuna asked at the port with his family and the same old man that had denied Naruto a ship originally. What if those two wake up and take revenge on us? I told you that they aren't like that. To tell the truth, they're probably the nicest ninja I've met. So, unless they get paid for it, they won't have a reason to come after you guys ... Plus at this point. I can say with certainty that they are a bunch of softies in a hard shell. Naruto laughed. Bandages the cuts that littered his body, but the would-be pirate was in high spirits with a full stomach after a pick-me-up feast. The demon of the mist. The old man's sweat dropped at the teen, essentially telling them a hardened killer ... was nice. Thanks for the ship, old man. Naruto turned to the man. It's the least I could do for everything you did ... but are you sure this is all? Yep, everything'll fall into place after that, Naruto said optimistically. You should stay ... What if something else happens? Inari spoke up, blushing in embarrassment. What'll we do if it's even worse than Gado? No, I already stayed here longer than I wanted. Besides, I'm sure that you guys will figure everything out. This port is supposed to be a moneymaker, after all. Naruto stuck his tongue out with a grin. But Wave needs a hero, and that's you. Inari started to cry. Crying again. Naruto laughed, watching Inari furiously wipe his eyes. I told ya, I'm no hero. I beat up Gado cause I wanted to, and saving you guys happened because it was in the process. Naruto stared out to the ocean. If you want a hero, instead of waiting for one, you should become your own hero. There never seems to be enough, right? You mean get strong ... like you. You'll never be as strong as me, but you'll get close. I'm going out into the world. Everything will be harder out there. That's one question you haven't answered yet, Naruto-san, Tsunami said, her curiosity rising. You've been pretty adamant in leaving the island since day one, why is that? Naruto rose a brow in confusion. Oh, I never told you. Naruto smiled with his arms crossed. I'm gonna be a pirate. His declaration had the assembled people confused. This good-hearted blonde wanted to become a criminal. Naruto laughed at their faces, shocked. I've been training for 10 years to get ready. But if you do that, everyone will think that you're a bad guy. They'll hate you. Inari shouted. Well, who cares about that? I don't know everyone in the world, but I know you guys. Do you think I'm a bad guy? Naruto's simple answer struck their hearts. Long as you guys don't hate me, the world can think whatever they want. And I won't be on my own. There are guys out there that I'll be able to depend on. I just have to go out there and find them, and when I do, we'll be able to take on whatever the world throws at us. They'll be my crew. Naruto then rapped against his head with his knuckles. I forgot something. What is it? Tazuna asked. Naruto places a finger to his lips in a shushing motion as he explained. I need you guys to keep it under wraps that I was here. Don't mention my name or what I look like to anyone ... at least not until I start getting famous. But everyone should know what you did. Inari protested. Well, this is another favor I want, then. Why? Even if someone knows about you, wouldn't they be proud that you saved a village? Tazuna asked. Naruto turned back to the ocean and gave a hollow chuckle. Proud, huh? No, they'd do anything to find and kill me probably ... but don't worry about it, it doesn't concern you. The two looked like they wanted to ask more questions, but Tsunami stopped them. Having had the chance to talk extensively with the blonde pirate ... she had an idea of what, or rather who he wanted to stay hidden from. We won't say anything, Naruto-san. Tsunami smiled to him. Thanks, Tsunami. Naruto smiled. Well, time to set sail. My adventure starts now. Naruto opened the sail on his dinghy and set out onto the ocean. Turning around, he waved with both hands to the family on the port. Don't die out there, brat. Take care, Naruto-san. When you come back, I'll definitely be stronger than you. I look forward to it. Guess I have to keep myself sharp. Naruto called back, disappearing over the horizon. He managed to catch a glimpse of two figures that made their way to the port behind the family. Zabuza and Haku. The blonde grinned harder and waved more enthusiastically, unable to say anything that they'd hear. That brat sets out without seeing me first. I have a couple of things to say, Zabuza growled. Tazuna, Inari, and the old man all flinched. Like what exactly? The way Naruto-san speaks of you ... you're nothing but a marshmallow afraid to show how soft he actually is. Tsunami smiled. Wanna say that again? Zabuza made to grab his sword. Zabuza-sama, I think retaliating will only prove her point. Haku stopped the man. Naruto-san said that you were more in touch with your softer side and well-mannered as well. Tsunami spoke to Haku, who bowed. Thank you very much. She's talking to the demon of the mist like it's nothing ... what I miss. Tazuna was amazed at his daughter's bravery. If you're Naruto's friends, then I guess you can't be all bad. Inari walked up, attempting to be brave. Friends? Zabuza growled. Yes, friends, Haku laughed. Hard to believe that kid wants to go out and be a pirate of all things. He's way too good for that. Tazuna came to stand with everyone, nervous. He better toughen up. It won't be easy out there. Probably he'll end up dead. Zabuza sat down to relax his injured body. Naruto won't die. Inari retorted. I think you should take that as the marshmallow being concerned. Tsunami giggled at the man's indignant face. Tsunami ... did you grow a pair of balls while I was gone? Tazuna asked, off to the side. Before the antic could continue, a villager ran up to them all, freezing at the sight of Zabuza, but shook his head and continued with his task. Tazuna, what is it? They're here. They came from the bridge. The man panted. Huh? Who's here? Tazuna asked. Ninja ... from Konoha. All present widened their eyes at that. What reason did they have to show up here now? They didn't get their money, so why come now? Appearing in front of them with ninja speed was a team made up of Kakashi Hadake, Menma Namikaze, Natsumi Namikaze, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. Hello there, we're the ninja from Konoha. We were told that a man named Tazuna is in charge. Kakashi waved with an eye smile. The happy mood soured at their presence. I'm Tazuna ... now what do you want exactly? We don't have the money to pay you. Tazuna narrowed his eyes. The fourth Hokage took it upon himself to waive the fee. That is, in exchange for a cut of the profits that your port makes. When it gets back up and running, Natsumi smiled. How generous of him. Tsunami strained a smile. Yes, he is very nice. Your plight had touched him, but he didn't have the resources at the time. But now here we are. Kakashi lied through his teeth. Well, as happy as that makes me, I hate to tell you that Gato has been taken care of. So, we won't be needing your services. Tazuna shot them down, taking pleasure in seeing their faces. Excuse me. Yep, in custody right now. Already contacted a larger prison to extract him when they get the time. Tazuna jabbed a thumb in the general direction of the prison. That's ridiculous. Just who is it that came to this backwater village and saved you all? Sasuke narrowed his eyes. A real hero, brat. And what did he ask for in exchange, if I may ask? Kakashi mined for information. All he wanted was for a food bill he'd incurred to be annulled, Tazuna answered, keeping the ship a secret. He took care of everything only a few hours ago and went on his merry way. A food bill. What a slob. How much did he eat that he needed to take on a rank mission to pay for it? Sakura asked, furrowing her brow in disgust as she imagined the man. Watch your mouth. He at least did it, unlike you guys. What good are you? Inari stuck his tongue out. Who do you think you're talking to? Menma, hands in his pockets, took a threatening step forward. Did you manage to catch what village he hailed from? Natsumi stopped her brother. Wasn't a ninja. Tezuna kept the answer short. It's unfortunate that he left, then. We could use a man that could destroy an entire organization in a single morning. He wouldn't work with you in a million years. Inari grit his teeth at her. Natsumi laced her hand in her knees and leaned forward. Her eyes closed. We can be very persuasive, boy. Inari hid behind his mother's leg at the aura he felt. Well, with Gato taken care of ... you'll need different protection for your port, correct? Kakashi didn't miss a beat. Konoha would be happy to offer our ninja up. We'll just keep the same conditions for the rank we missed. That won't be necessary, Tsunami spoke up. And just why is that? We've actually gotten 2 ninja to become security around here. Tezuna motioned to Zabuza and Haku, a slight pleading look in his eyes. Yeah, that's us. Gato's gone, so I've got no problem working for whoever pays, Zabuza answered. You're the demon of the mist, a missing nin. Perhaps we could offer you amnesty. Natsumi looked to them. No dice. I don't plan on working for any hidden village again. I'm fine with this small job. Zabuza noticed the look of the Namikaze twins. We aren't going home empty-handed. Menma sneered. Perhaps if you Hawkage had answered sooner, you wouldn't find yourselves in this predicament, Tsunami said. She gasped when Menma went to slap her for talking back, only for Zabuza to block it from where he was sitting. Attacking a defenseless woman for speaking the truth. Shameful for a great Konoha ninja, isn't it? Zabuza glared. Phew, Menma. Kakashi stopped the boy. I apologize for my student's temper. I want you gone. That's my daughter you just threatened. Tezuna yelled. And I'm sorry, perhaps we can. Get out of here. We don't need you. You had your chance. The villagers had all converged at the port when the news had spread, and began jeering at the Konoha ninja. If you want any chance of doing business with us, you'll leave and go through proper channels, Tezuna said. Or maybe I'll just Menma started. Menma-kun, maybe we should get out of here. Sakura sweat at the enraged people. Sakura is right. Sorry to have bothered you, Kakashi bowed, keeping his embarrassment in check. It wouldn't do to run afoul of the people here. They were a burgeoning enterprise. They had time to put them under thumb. TCH, don't get comfortable. Menma glared behind him as Team 7 left. That was frightening. Those were supposed to be the Konoha ninja. Tsunami fanned herself to calm down. I don't see a difference from Gato. Tezuna rose his brow. Zabuza kept quiet. Maybe they realized and didn't want to humor the idea. Or maybe they didn't notice at all. Those 2 redheads ... were related to Naruto. Are they the reason why he wanted to get out of here so fast? Thank you, Marshmallow. Seems we can rely on you. Tsunami smiled. Long as you pay me, Zabuza grumbled. Tsunami looked to her father. He had a hand on his chin and was in deep thought. What's the matter, father? It's just ... is that all? Why do you mean, Grandpa? Inari asked. A bill waived. A dingy ship. Is that all we'll give that kid for helping us? The brat didn't want anything else, right? Who cares? I care. This is a new chapter for Wave. Gato's gone. Business will boom when there are more reasonable prices. Wave can be a thriving village if we manage it right. Naruto gave us a lot more than freedom. He gave us a new beginning. Tezuna swept his hand across the assembled villagers. Don't you all think he deserves more? His question was met with cheers. I say we rename this port. From now on, it will be the Great Naruto Port. No, you can't use Naruto-sen's name, father. All right. Then, Tezuna decided to translate it then. Maelstrom Port. I think that kind of still counts, but I do like it. I hope you're ready to have your work cut out for you, Zabuza. There's no way Konoha will take this lying down, not to mention other ninja and pirates, Tezuna said. Let him come, Zabuza said confidently. I shall be ready as well, Zabuza-sama, Haku affirmed. I want to help too. Zabuza, train me to use a sword or something. Inari said. No, try something else. Maybe you could use that bow that Kaiza taught you to fish with. Tsunami offered, while trying to come up with something that would technically keep Inari far from the action. Yeah, all you have to do is keep this place safe for as long as possible. Tezuna held a devil smirk on his face. If Naruto goes out there and gets famous ... we can have a crazy amount of tourism and notoriety for being his starting point. Was naming the port a marketing ploy? Tsunami's eyes shined in anger. Not completely. Tsunami, wait, what are you doing? Stop. How dare they? They should be happy we find them valuable enough to rescue. Menma felled a tree in his anger. Hawkage-sama will be upset, Sakura mumbled, worried about his reaction. We should have forced them into submission, Sasuke sighed. Happy workers are better than miserable workers, Sasuke. Not to worry, we just need to make sure they never realize how important they could become, Kakashi placated. Aren't you all curious about their mysterious stranger? Natsumi asked. Yes, but without any evidence, we can't do much about him. Well, that's just it. No evidence. Not even a description. I find it suspicious that they'd keep it under wraps like that. They were unhappy with us, Menma pointed out. Kakashi-sensei, we receive world news, correct? Natsumi asked. No, we have no real need for it. Only the biggest happening reach our ears, or any newspaper we get from a pirate ship. Why? I'd like to have news coups delivered to Konoha. Why? Becoming interested in the larger world. No. Just a hunch that has a slim chance of being true. Nothing to concern yourself with. The team continued home, unaware of the person that they had just missed. The person that had made the first mission of the Namikaze siblings, the children of the Yellow Flash. A complete failure. Naruto stood on his boat, the wind blowing through his hair and eyes closed, breathing in deeply. Ah, the salty sea air, just like I imagined it. The sky and sea on the open ocean are way bluer than I could have imagined, too. Naruto smiled, looking ahead. Alright, time to go out and find my crew, then to the Grand Line. Just you wait, Gramps. I'll become a great pirate, one you can be proud of. Naruto shouted to the heavens. Across the ocean in different areas, certain individuals went about their regular days not knowing of the violent wind that would blow through and sweep them up. On an island in the South Blue, completely cordoned off by a gate surrounding the island, an empty city is found. A city made up of a small residential area with rural houses and large structures that shot into the sky. Wind blew through the empty streets, wafting papers and bags through them. These were the only inhabitants that could be seen out and about. Suddenly, a large shadow ran across the roofs of the great buildings, seemingly running from something. Behind the shadow, a human-sized shadow followed behind it. The large shadow was a beast that was capable of easily outrunning the average human and overpower them. Looking behind itself, it noticed that its pursuer had disappeared. Dropping to the ground, the beast trudged through the empty city, aimless, for it had nothing to feed on, and escape was impossible for it because of the giant gate around the island. All T could do was run and survive. Its grotesque kind on this island was almost extinct, because of the figure that had been chasing them. The only truly living thing left. And it appeared above the beast. Hey! The beast looked up in shock, revealing a white bone-like mask covering its head. Before it was slashed through by a sword. A large sword resembling a kyber knife cut through the mask like butter, the wielder landing on the ground and the corpse of the beast dissolving. The wielder raised his head, revealing a shock of orange hair, watching the monster disappear. He took a book of names and crossed out another as he quickly flipped through pages and pages of excess showing that he'd killed most of the beasts. Closing it without a word, the teen wrapped his sword in bandages and headed home. Cover. Ichigo stands with Zangetsu held horizontally in front of him and its flapping bandages held in his teeth. Naruto stands back to back with Ichigo, looking over his shoulder with a smirk. Their surroundings are a wrecked Karakura town street with monster carcasses littered behind them. Heretake no Yumo Kakiatsum. Sagashi Mono o Sagashi Nai Yuku no Sa. The camera flashes through screenshots of different shadowed figures. The first, Ichigo, back turned, looking over his shoulder and a hand ready to draw Zangetsu. The second, a feminine figure, an odd blade slung over her shoulder, and her other hand in her pocket. The third, a muscular man in a dense jungle facing an animal larger than him. The last, the smallest of all of them, running through a long corridor. One Piece. Rashinban net Juyutai no Moto. Netsu nai Yukaser Kaji o Toru no Sa. Hakori Kabuteta Takara no Chizumo. Tashikamata no Nara Densetsu Janai. Kajin Teki na Arashi wa Der Kano. Biorizumu Naket. Amwe Sugospa 2. A shot of masked beasts with three shadows wearing marine coats appearing behind them. Another shot of a figure with boxing gloves standing with a female in a short skirt and visor, with both standing to the sides for a long staircase that leads to another feminine shadow standing in front of the shining sun. A shot of odd bird-like creatures in a jungle, each paired with shadows of differing shapes. A final shot of a lone man with a ponytail on his otherwise bald head, wearing a kimono as he stands above a vast army of different people. Heretake no Yumio Kakiatsum. Sagashi Mono o Sagashi Nai Yuku no Sa. Running through the jungle, they battle the birds and the figures paired with them and bring the bulky man with them. Reaching the army, the crew clears the way for Naruto to meet the lone man at the top. A wild smile on Naruto's face as he launches a wind fist toward the figure, picking up the small figure and larger ship as they pass. Hokuto no Coin, Sarito. You wanna be my friend? We are on the cruise. Zooming back to Naruto and his ship. The camera sweeps across his crew before flipping behind it, showing a shot of the sun rising on the horizon. Naruto's crew stares ahead as a mountain comes into view, a sea current flowing up it. Naruto jumps from the front of the ship to the dismay of the feminine figure as she fumes. Ichigo looks up with a smirk. The bulky man laughs boisterously as he watches, and the small figure does a small hop imitating Naruto excitedly. We are 2 days after the wave incident Karakura town. Within the once bustling town, the lone living citizen awoke from his slumber. Rubbing his eyes, the orange-haired teen pulled himself out of bed and made his way downstairs while grabbing his blade on the way, and passing 2 empty rooms. His home was small, the common areas being downstairs and the residence rooms being upstairs. A small clinic could also be found downstairs that was fully equipped for minor injuries, but no major surgeries. Or it would be, but it seemed that the teen had used a lot of the supplies. The kitchen was in a similar state with most of the perishable foods being eaten, leaving canned foods for the teen's breakfast. He opened a can of cold beans, not bothering to heat the contents as he had other things to worry about that day, and hastily downed the slop while shuddering. After having his delicious breakfast, the teen went outside to his backyard with a solemn frown set on his face, looking out to the vast expanse he'd created so long ago. The home's backyard had been opened up by the teen. Remnants of the fence that the neighborhood used to separate the homes could be seen. The reason for the renovation: a vast number of graves that were shoddily made, with most having headstones made from the bark of trees and names carved into them, along with mounds of dirt heaped in front of each one. A mass gravesite, all created by the orange head ... But for what purpose? He walked to the first row of graves and knelt in front of a specific 3 that did not yet have mounds. These 3 graves still had holes in front of them yet to be filled with anything, and further back, almost out of eyesight, was another empty grave. The teen closed his eyes, his sword stabbed into the ground, standing next to him while he was in his thoughts, thinking back on the long road that led him here and how close he was to being finished. Just a few more ... and I'll be done. And I can avenge you all. The teen opened his eyes, got up, and pulled his sword from the ground, placing the great blade on his back using a red cord while its bandages wrapped around it as a sheath. He smirked and looked up to the sky. A cloud that had been obscuring the sun moved to cause its bright rays to shine onto the island. Psyching himself up, the teen went back into his home and grabbed his book of names, putting it into the robes he wore, and exited his home. Time to go hunting. The teen took to the rooftops, heading towards the city. Resident of Karakura town, Ichigo Kurosaki. Naruto had his feet kicked up on his dinghy, relaxing since his departure from the elemental nations. The blonde pirate yawned, kicking his feet in boredom while watching seagulls overhead. Then, 2 days of nothing. I thought that being a pirate was supposed to be constant adventure. I haven't even seen an island yet. Naruto stood up and shouted to the heavens. The seagulls looked down to see the commotion but ultimately ignored the odd human. What I wouldn't give for an island, or at least someone to talk to. I gotta find crewmates to share adventures with. After all, it's no fun if I'm by myself. Naruto sighed, plopping back down onto the ship and rocking it slightly. As if fate was answering his prayers, the small boat knocked into something which the grumbling blonde failed to notice in his anguish. Cracking his eye open, Naruto was met with a big gate that, from what he could see, was surrounding an island. An island? He broke out into a grin at the great find, completely ignoring the fact that the gate had the symbols of the Marines and the world government as a clear sign that the 2 powers considered the island dangerous. Finally, an island. Naruto looked up, seeing the top of the gate. But what's with the gate? How's anyone supposed to get in? Unless this place is so dangerous they have to keep everyone out. Naruto oddly deduced. That means adventure. And if this place is dangerous, then there might be strong people that could join my crew. Naruto pumped his fists at his amazing detective work before he started to stretch his legs and giving small hops on the boat. Then it settled. Time to find myself a crewmate. Using his powers, Naruto boosted himself to the top of the gate and perched himself on one of the posts. Placing a hand above his eyes, Naruto made an O with his mouth in amazement while sweeping his view across the horizon. Naruto took in the view of Karakura town. Not that he knew its name. His eyes shone in amazement as he took in the sight of the first new place he'd visited since leaving his island. Whoa, this place looks great. I bet a lot of people live here. It's the biggest village I've ever seen. Naruto laughed before he jumped from his perch onto the island with an audible boom. Hey, anyone here wanna come be a pirate with me? Naruto yelled only to be met with silence. It's more fun than you think. I promise. More silence. Naruto scratched his head in confusion at the lack of reaction to his loud announcement, tilting his head when there wasn't so much as a peep from any living thing. Where is everyone? Naruto wondered aloud, walking into the town. While walking in the middle of the street, Naruto took notice of the different shops. All of them empty. The businesses were devoid of anyone and looked to have been emptied in a hurry, as, in some, the goods were scattered onto the ground and some had their buildings wrecked as if an explosive had gone off inside. When the blonde went to check food shops, most of the food had either been spoiled or ransacked for non-perishables. No one's around. Maybe I scared them off when I jumped in. Naruto cupped his chin. Looks like I picked a boring island to stop it. Above the blonde, the orange-haired teen leaped from one of the roofs, intending on attacking the perceived threat to his island. Bringing his blade overhead, he planned to cut the intruder in two down the middle. So it came as a shock to him when said intruder stopped his sword by catching its tip between his hands. Is that any way to treat a guest? Naruto grit his teeth, slightly struggling to hold the sword away from his forehead. There aren't any guests here, especially some weird suspicious guy like you. The island's been declared off limits. Ichigo, also gritting his teeth, struggled against the blonde. Oh, the gate. I jumped it, Naruto answered simply. Then you'll have no problem jumping back over. But I just got here. Naruto whined. You don't get to tell me what to do. He added insult to injury by sticking his tongue out. TCH, how old are you? Ichigo yelled back, also showing his immaturity. Unable to overpower each other, the two got ready to disengage. Too bad for Ichigo. Naruto got the idea first. The blonde shoved the sword to the side, taking its wielder with it as he fell forward. Naruto took this opening, whirled around, and delivered a back kick aiming for Ichigo's stomach, only for the orange swordsman to deftly right himself and bring the flat of his blade in front of him and block the kick. Narrowing his eyes, Naruto pushed off the blade to make distance between them. Gathering wind around him, Naruto used his signature attack on the attacker, hoping to catch him off guard with his abilities. The wind fist traveled quickly to his opponent. Ichigo skidded to a stop and saw the intruder punch the air in front of him, making the swordsman raise a brow in confusion before noticing the barest hint of the concussive wind force shooting toward him. Realizing what was heading his way, Ichigo took his sword and batted the attack to the side, flinging it into a building and causing an explosion of debris which obscured Ichigo from Naruto's view. The blonde waited, his intense gaze focused on the dust cloud. Soon the unknown swordsman burst from the dust with his sword at his side, readying for a slash to the blonde's midsection. Once he'd made it to the blonde, Ichigo swung the mighty blade but did not feel the distinct resistance of human flesh. Looking down, Ichigo saw the pirate had bent backward to avoid the slash. With no hesitation, Ichigo maneuvered his sword with its point directed at Naruto's chest and stabbed down. From his position, Naruto flipped backward and used his heel to kick the blade away, and while staying in a handstand brought his other heel around to kick Ichigo in the ribs. The orange swordsman ground his teeth in pain, but not from a kick to the ribs, rather a kick to his bicep as he'd raised it to block the blonde's attack. With that block, Ichigo had also used the opening to wrap the bandages of his blade around Naruto's leg, ensnaring him before using his strength to pull the blonde from the ground. Naruto was surprised when he was yanked into the air and swung around by the swordsman, the force put into the swing making it difficult for the blonde to attempt a counter. Before long, Ichigo swung the pirate into a building and retracted the bandage, rushing into the cloud that was kicked up to press the attack. As Naruto pulled himself up, rubbing his head in pain, he saw his opponent through the dust, ready to bring his sword down on the dazed blonde. Reacting quickly, Naruto brought a hand up with wind swirling and managed to block the sword, for the most part, as the blade did manage to leave a small cut on him despite the defense. Ichigo, while shocked, paid the unexpected move little mind as he withdrew the blade from an overhead slash and decided to bring its back end into the blonde's ribs. Naruto, instead of focusing on the impending attack, chose to use the wind on his defending hand to punch the swordsman. Tenpasuda Panchi. Both attacks struck their intended targets, marking the first major hit scored on their opponent. Naruto had blood fly from his mouth, the giant knife's blunt side bashed into his midsection, cracking some ribs. Ichigo grunted in pain, blood also flying from his mouth, and was then blasted from the building when the compressed wind around the blonde's fist exploded outward, forcing Ichigo to fly into an adjacent building across the street. Naruto got up, holding his side and ready to continue fighting, but the building that they'd fought in took too much punishment from them, causing it to collapse on top of the blonde, who had yelped in surprise. Across the street, Ichigo had tossed the debris off his person, equally ready to continue fighting with the intruder but did not see him anywhere. Seeing the destroyed building that the blonde was in, Ichigo sighed and wrapped his sword up. Who was that guy? He was tough. Tougher than any hollow I've fought here. Ichigo wiped his mouth, smearing the blood. Whoever he was, it doesn't matter. I don't have time to be screwing around with a stranger anyway. Ichigo caught his breath for a few seconds and perked up instantly when an inhuman shriek was heard from far off. With that, Ichigo kicked himself into high gear and left the scene of his short-lived battle with a pirate, a serious expression on his face as he sped through the city, leaping back to the rooftops as he made to find the source of the mysterious roar. Almost done. Just this one ... them, Ichigo thought, ready to hunt down the beast. Back at the battle site, Naruto finally burst out from underneath the rubble with his fists up in a fighting stance to continue the battle. Alright, come at ... me. Naruto looked to his left and right. He left. We weren't done fighting yet. Naruto grumbled, crossing his arms in a fit and sitting on the ground tilting his head. What was his problem anyway? I may be a pirate, but I haven't done anything. If someone's going to attack me, I at least want a reason for it. Naruto winced in pain and held his side. But he was strong. He kept up with me like it was nothing. He was even faster than Zabuza was back in wave even with their swords being so similar. Naruto thought back to their fight and the fact that the orange-haired swordsman was strong enough to block his attack with minimum effort, and the two of them had to struggle to overpower the other. Not only that, but the guy had managed to catch Naruto off guard during their skirmish when he'd managed to cut his hand through his wind. With that, Naruto grinned and put a hand on his knee, pumping his other fist in determination. A guy like that has to be on my crew. We may have gotten off on the wrong foot, but once he sees that I'm not a bad guy, he'll be dying to join up. Naruto reasoned. Wind blew in the empty street. Now, where'd he go? The pirate didn't have to wonder for long, because he heard crashes off in the distance. With that, Naruto sped through the streets on a mission to recruit the swordsman that he'd had the honor of fighting against. The orange-haired swordsman was hopping from rooftop to rooftop chasing a bat-like creature flying above him. The teen swordsman had attempted to hit the beast, but it was swift and had evaded each of his attempts. Damn, all this time and I've never had to deal with one that flies, Ichigo groaned, continuing to chase the creature. Hey, the pursuing orange head heard a familiar voice call out to him. Looking over his shoulder while continuing to roof hop, Ichigo saw the blonde pirate on the street waving to him and grinning. You again. Sorry, we got off on the wrong foot. And Naruto, didn't I tell you to leave? Ichigo asked with a cold look. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, you did. To tell the truth, this place was so boring. I was probably gonna leave if you hadn't shown up. Lucky, huh? Is that what you'd call it? You're really strong, you know. Naruto hopped up onto the roof next to Ichigo with the swordsman only giving the blonde a glance as they ran. Sure, I guess. So, I was thinking, since you're so strong, why don't you join my pirate crew with me? We can go on adventures together. Naruto offered with an innocent smile. Ichigo frowned, looked to the blonde, and said, I refuse. Aw, how come? Being a pirate is fun. You get to do whatever you want with a bunch of people watching your back. I don't want to be a pirate, and even if I did, I have something I have to do before I can leave this island. Ichigo looked ahead with determination set in his features. Naruto frowned at his cryptic answer, crossed his arms, closed his eyes, and tilted his head all while still running. What do you have to do? TCH, like I'm telling you, it's none of your business. With his answer, the creature that Ichigo and the unknowing pirate had been chasing let out a shriek as if to remind them that it was present. When Naruto looked up to see what had made the noise, he finally took notice of the odd animal. Whoa, what the heck is that? Naruto asked, shocked. You've been chasing me, and you didn't even notice that? Ichigo asked, shocked at the oblivious blonde. The cogs in Naruto's head began to turn. Looking to the creature then Ichigo and seeing the swordsman's intense gaze on said creature, a hand on his chin and his eyes closed, Naruto worked out the intricacies of Ichigo's words and the oddly empty town. I got it. You're hunting down these things to protect your island, huh? Naruto put his fist in his other hand in realization. If that's all you have to do before you can leave, I'll help you. What? Why? In return for my help, you join my crew. That's a dirty deal. And I already said no. Ichigo's eyes bulged in indignation at the laughing blonde. This'll be a piece of cake. I'll knock that bat down, and then we can hunt the others and leave. Naruto flew up to meet the creature and earn a crew member. Hey, guess this explains why he could block my sword with his bare hands. He's got devil fruit powers too. Ichigo mused as the blonde flew to the bat. Hey bat, I'm knocking you down. Naruto yelled. Why'd you give away your element of surprise? Ichigo shouted angrily. I want him to know what's coming. Naruto reached the bat and reared his fist back to punch it down. When it heard the blonde's shout, the creature turned to Naruto and shocked him with its appearance. The monster's face was bone white and seemed to be more of a mask than a face, with thick teeth for a mouth, a skull-like nose, and a half-circle indented forehead. The odd being gave a shrill shriek, fully turning to confront its prey. "Whoa, weird bat, but I'm still gonna take you down." Naruto brought his fist into the bat's chest, pushing the creature back and knocking its balance off. "You want to aim for the mask. That's its weak spot," Ichigo informed the blonde. "Destroy it, and its body will disintegrate." "Huh? The mask? Alright." Naruto flew to the bat as it regained its balance, intent on defeating it in one hit. But missed an important detail that Ichigo had shouted. "Attack from behind. Never the front, unless you can get it in one hit," Ichigo desperately yelled. "Okay, one clean hit." Naruto's fist barreled into the monster's eye, but he winced in pain when his knuckles met the mask. A crack ran up the forehead of the creature to denote the small amount of damage the impact had on the beast. "This thing is tougher than I thought." Naruto saw that his knuckles were bloodied a bit. "He couldn't do it," Ichigo commented, though he couldn't blame the blonde for not knowing of the creature's resilience. The monster shook its head to clear the cobwebs when its brain got rattled and opened its maw. Spewing from its mouth came leeches that latched onto Naruto, who recoiled in disgust when they latched onto his arms and chest. "Phew, what the hell kind of bat spits out leeches?" Naruto stuck his tongue out, freaked out as he tried to brush the parasites off him, only to be met with a great amount of resistance. "Leeches? Is that its ability? Will they suck him dry? Or is it something else?" Ichigo continued his pursuit, taking in information from below while watching the battle. While the blonde frantically tried to remove the small parasites from his person, his opponent once again opened its mouth and stuck its oddly forked tongue out toward the pirate. The bat then gave a high-pitched whistle, causing the leeches to vibrate on the pirate, making him wonder what was happening until suddenly the leeches detonated on his body. Bomb! Ichigo sped up when he saw the blonde begin to fall, seemingly knocked out. "Hey, you alright? I told you I didn't need help." Ichigo jumped up and caught the blonde. "Cough, damn, that caught me by surprise. Must be some kind of mutant or something." Naruto seemed unfazed from the bombs other than a little blood and scuffs on him. "You never said the mask was so tough," Naruto pouted. "Don't pin this on me. Blunt force isn't as effective unless you pack serious power behind it. The best way to destroy the mask is with a cutting attack, so why don't you stand back?" And Ichigo made to grab his sword, but Naruto got up instantly. "I can cut. Don't worry about me, the captain's gotta be tough." Naruto gave Ichigo a thumbs up. "I'm not joining your crew," Ichigo shouted after the blonde had already made back up into the sky. "Alright, bat face, I've got you this time." Naruto had his hand out to his side, fingers extended and together, and wind swirling around it. The pirate blonde brought his hand down in a chopping motion. "Kazakiri." The blonde's hand released a sharp wind as it was swung toward the creature. Being cautious, the monster moved its head away from the blonde's limb as quickly as it could, but the side of its mask had been caught by the tail end of the gust, causing the cracked part of its mask to come off. The monster then fell from the sky and landed in the street due to being swept up the force of the attack and the pain from its face being injured. The blonde followed the felled beast, ready to end the skirmish. Still in one piece, Naruto saw the creature scuttle in place, looking confused and on its last legs. "Guess I didn't cut enough. Well, sorry to say, but I've got to take you down." Naruto cracked his knuckles to give the finishing blow. Then the monster turned its head to him. Naruto froze at what he saw. Underneath the mask of this monster was a face. A human face, judging from the eye that Naruto could see. It looked to him frantically, afraid of the pirate's approach as it ... Whoever feared its impending doom. So shocked was the blonde, he was taken off guard when the thing had spat its leeches back onto him in a greater volume than before and brought its tongue out to detonate them, fully intending to obliterate the pirate. Before the deed could be done, Ichigo appeared from above the beast and ran his blade through its mask, completely bisected it. With that, the creature let out an ear-piercing shriek as it slowly began to disappear into dark flecks that floated into the sky, the leeches following suit. "I told you, attack from behind and end it in one strike if you have to attack from the front." Ichigo watched the particles as the corpse completely disappeared with a somber expression. He turned to the blonde, who clearly had questions he wanted to ask but held his tongue. "Sai, come on. You need to rest and heal up, and the best place to do that is my house. And when you are rested, you need to leave." Ichigo started to walk, leading the way to his home. Kurosaki Clinic. The walk to Ichigo's home was silent, both teens not knowing how to strike up a conversation after what had happened. They trudged through the empty streets of the ghost town, the unsettling silence only broken by the trash that the wind would occasionally blow past them. Naruto's questions only grew the more and more they passed through, wondering where everyone had been this entire day and why they hadn't come out of hiding. He watched Ichigo's back as they walked, his hand behind his head as he observed the empty town. He wouldn't pry since it wasn't any of his business. Ichigo had taken his book out during their trek and had crossed another name from it. With that name eliminated from the large list, only 3 remained on the very first page of the entire book. And they were names that the orange-haired teen dreaded reaching but knew that they were necessary before he could leave the island. Finally stopping in front of Ichigo's home, the duo walked in with Naruto curiously gazing around the abode in slight wonder and Ichigo leaning his sword against the wall by the front door. Make your way to the room on the right. It's where I keep all the medical supplies. Where's all the food? Naruto rummaged in Ichigo's kitchen, looking for sustenance and angering his host. Who do you think you are going through someone else's kitchen? Ichigo growled. I have to heal somehow. Naruto shook his head at the swordsman's blunder. What idiot heals by eating? Go into the patient room and I'll dress your wounds. Ichigo shoved the invader into a room akin to a doctor's office and forced him to sit on a gurney. In a matter of minutes, the swordsman had disinfected the blonde pirate's wounds and wrapped them tightly with gauze with clear familiarity. When he finished the task, Ichigo set his supplies on a small table on wheels and wiped his forehead. Well, and good as new. Naruto hopped off the gurney immediately and started to swing his arms around and stretch. Are you a doctor swordsman? No, I've just seen enough idiots get patched up over the years that I know how to dress wounds, at least. And sit down. Ichigo sat on the doctor's chair, resting his forearms on his knees, and sighed to himself. No doubt you've got questions. I'll tell you what happened on this island. But tomorrow, if you understand the gravity of what I'm going to tell you, you'll leave. Ichigo brought his head up and saw the blonde spewing blood and bleeding again. I twisted too much. Naruto fell face first on the ground. I told you to sit. After redressing the blonde's injuries, the atmosphere once again grew heavy with the weight of the incoming conversation. I'm sure you've noticed that no one has been around the island all day. Ichigo finally started the tough talk. Yeah, everything was completely empty. Naruto rubbed his chin in recollection. Where is everyone? You took out that monster, so you'd think they'd come out of hiding. You've already seen one of them, Ichigo answered, a dark look in his eyes. What? Was the pirate's response, tilting his head. Remember what happened when you broke the bat's mask? Naruto's eyes widened when he thought back. There was a human eye underneath it. You don't mean to tell me. Naruto let the question hang in the air. Ichigo gave Naruto a solemn nod. That creature was once a resident of this island. And everyone on this island other than me has met the same fate. Ichigo revealed. How did that happen? A devil fruit. Ichigo shook his head. No. 0.10 years ago. A virus swept through the island in only about 2 days. It didn't take long at all for everyone to become infected. And they became those monsters, hollows. What kind of a virus can do that to a person? And hollows. Naruto gripped the gurney tightly as he listened. A virus made to bring something out of people that has always been there, but forcibly, without their consent. The removal of what's inside mangles their bodies and manifests itself into those masks they wear, and the loss of their humanity. They become nothing more than beasts, looking to fill the void that has been left by the absence the virus created. Ichigo explained. How come you weren't infected, then? You've been around these things. The word didn't sit right with the blonde, but they couldn't be called human anymore. For 10 years. Wouldn't you have, become a hollow too? The reason I'm not affected is the same as the reason you won't be. We have devil fruit powers, Ichigo revealed. You're a devil fruit user. What kind? Naruto asked, curious about the other devil fruits out there. The Rayleigh no Mai. It made me a spirit human. It's almost as if I was dead. In a way, I'm able to use abilities that spirits can. That's where my sword came from. It's a manifestation of my soul, so I'm the only one that can use it. Ichigo looked to the sword. Whoa, cool. But how do our powers protect us from being infected? It's because the thing inside us has already been brought to the surface, only naturally. Ichigo saw the blonde's confusion. I'm sure you know the story of devil fruits. Yeah, they were supposed to be cursed by sea devils, and we lose the ability to swim because the ocean wants to punish us for gaining the abilities or something. The way I see it, the power inside us is malleable and devil fruits shape it into something that our bodies can handle and use in a natural way. This virus attacks what's inside us before it can be brought out through devil fruits and forms it violently while bringing it out of us, not allowing our bodies the proper time to acclimate to the power and destroying it in the process. It transforms humans into a new shape that can handle the incredible power, destroying everything that made them human and often giving them unique abilities as well, though there are common traits shared by all of them. The masks, great strength and speed, tougher skin to name a few. So that's why you want to stay here, to put everyone to rest. Naruto crossed his arms, knowing the severity of what he was just told. Exactly, and after 10 years, I'm almost finished. Until I've cleansed everyone, I refuse to leave the island. That's why I can't leave with you and be a pirate. Ichigo finished. All the more reason that I stay and help you out. Naruto smiled. Ichigo grit his teeth in frustration. I thought telling you would make you understand. This is something that I have to do alone, and you'll just get in the way. If you're talking about today, I was just caught by surprise. I'll be ready next time, Naruto assured. No, you won't. I told you to rest up and leave tomorrow. That's the deal. Ichigo got up and made to leave. Why are you such a loner? I can help you, and then we can leave together. Naruto shot up, arguing adamantly. Because this is none of your business. I don't need or want a pirate's help anyway. I've been doing this for 10 years, alone, and I've been just fine. Ichigo turned back to the blonde, a frown on his face. No, you haven't. Naruto grabbed the swordsman's collar. No one in the world is alone. You had helped to get to where you are now. Your family, your friends, they helped make you who you are today, and you carry them with you as long as you're alive. Your devil fruit helped you survive this long on your own. And now, I'm here to help finish it all and take you away from here. Naruto got into Ichigo's face. This isn't something that you can help me with. No one can. I have to do it myself. Ichigo, in turn, grabbed Naruto's collar and got into Naruto's face just as intensely. Why? Why? Just you. Because it's my fault. The house went silent. Ichigo huffed as he came down from the emotional high that the argument had caused. Naruto loosened his grip and let his hand fall back to his side, eyes wide at the revelation that had been revealed to him and unable to find words to say. The virus. It's my fault that it spread around the island as fast as it did. There was no chance for defense against it. Because I tried to stop it ... and I lost everything because of it. I have to fix my mistake and let everyone rest. Ichigo looked to the floor, remembering everything. I don't believe you. Ichigo looked up to the blonde, who had a straight face and looked directly into Ichigo's eyes. Whatever happened here wasn't your fault. Someone who'd spend 10 years of their life to save the people from a fate worse than death could never do anything to harm them. Accidental or otherwise, Naruto crossed his arms. He remembered a certain boy lying in a street, beaten, blaming his own weakness before a certain someone had shown him that his weakness wasn't any fault of his own. It was something outside of your control, so it couldn't be your fault. Ichigo was speechless. It was like the blonde had become a different person from the goofball that he'd been all day. He had a commanding air about him, and despite having no real knowledge of the swordsman, Naruto had a look of unshakable faith in Ichigo's character. The blonde didn't seem to even entertain the thought that Ichigo could have caused the outbreak in Karakura town. Ichigo couldn't come up with anything to say in his defense at this point. All he could do was turn away and make his way to his room upstairs. Just go to sleep and get out of here. Ichigo stomped upstairs, passing the pictures on the wall, stopping in front of one that had him and 3 other people on it, 2 girls and an older man. You just don't get it. Ichigo's shoulders slumped and his normal stern look became softer as he looked at the photo. Naruto watched the swordsman disappear up the steps before huffing in exasperation, hopping back on the gurney for a makeshift bed, and placed his arms behind his head. He's just like that duck-haired kid back in the elemental nations, Naruto sighed. He then smirked when he looked down at his bandages. Only difference is, he's a jerk that actually cares, unlike that kid. He just wants me gone so I don't get hurt. Naruto closed his eyes. I'm not going anywhere until all those things are gone. He'll be mad, but he'll thank me. Eventually, the blonde conked out and was idly snoring in the clinic while Ichigo sat in his room looking out his window. He gazed at the moon solemnly, knowing that with the coming days he'd have to hunt the final hollows ... and wondering if he was truly ready. Sighing to himself, Ichigo heard the snores of the blonde coming from downstairs and cracked a small smile. Idiot. Ichigo looked back out the window and thought about the blonde. It was ... nice to have someone to talk to again after so long, even if he got on his nerves. For a pirate, Naruto wasn't so bad and packed a mean punch ... but he couldn't allow himself to lose focus on his mission and he couldn't have more blood on his hands. Just then, a shadow ran across the dark streets, catching Ichigo's trained eye. He pressed his cheek to the glass to continue to watch the large dark shape move further away from the Kurosaki clinic. The teen knew what this meant, and he hopped into action immediately, jumping from his bed and running down the stairs swiftly, and grabbing his blade and heading out the door. When the door closed, Naruto cracked one of his eyes open. Ichigo's heart was beating heavily from running so fast as well as his nervousness. He knew what he was going to do tonight, and he hoped he was ready for it ... He had to be. It could be any one of them. Attack from behind, destroy the mask, Ichigo chanted in his mind, clicking his teeth. I'll save you. I'll fix this. Ichigo, unbidden, wandered back to 10 years ago, thinking about how he got here. 10 years ago, Karakura Dojo. How? A young Ichigo had been punched in the face during a spar and fell back onto the mat. After the initial shock of the blow, the young orange head began to bawl his eyes out. Hey, Ichigo's crying again. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. And comment down your opinion on this video. Thanks for stopping by and I'll see you in the next one.